Welcome to the Game Rage Music Show.
Blows. This is another fine episode of All Gas No Trash.
A swell episode of All Gas No Trash, buddy.
That's right, good buddy. We're here today for another fine good time talking about music and all the things that we hate about it.
Yeah.
As always, my name's Josh. I'm here today with Adam.
Howdy.
And Adam has prepared us a wonderful selection of topics to discuss.
Yeah.
But if you want to hear us talk about other things that are not music related, you can go to GameRageMagazine.com and you can check out all other podcasts, such as the Buttfuck Nowhere Show or the Central Unintelligence Podcast or the Game Rage Movies and TV or several others that exist.
Yes, there's a cavalcade of podcasts for you to enjoy. If you enjoy anime, there's the Anime Syndicate that is fulfilled the necessity for anime podcasts.
Indeed. And it's really become a juggernaut in the anime podcast space.
Yeah. And then you got Central Unintelligence podcast, the current events, geopolitical
and opinions, yeah.
Piece or podcast rather that you can enjoy. And of course there's what other podcasts do we have?
We have Panel to Panel, the comic book one. We have Team Killing Glitchtards, which is the video game one. Yeah. We also have our interview podcast, Without Censor. You can listen to some of the interviews we've done there. And if you like pro wrestling, we got the Game Rage Wrestling podcast as well. And you
can find all that on the Game Rage Magazine website, or you could find it on, I believe you can find it on all the social media accounts that we have. There should be a link available for the website and all that stuff. So,
and if you did want to follow us at the beginning here, you can go to @AllGasNoTrashOfficial, and you can follow us at Game Rage Magazine, and that'd be great. So, anyways, now that we got the shameless self-promotion out of the way, what do you got for us today, good buddy?
Shit, man. Where do I start? Should I start with personal fucking experiences with music?
Yeah, let's start with the personal story.
Okay, so last Friday, I went to go see Lady Appletree, which I said I was going to do on the last episode. If you haven't listened to that, you can tune into that. It was a rather interesting situation to be in. I didn't expect to be surrounded by folks that are nostalgic for previous decades in American history, or even just the Americas. I don't know why I sound like fucking, what's his name, John Blackthorne, is that his name?
Yeah, from
the Japans. Yeah. Oh yeah, so if you want to listen to the Game Rage Movies and TV and hear our opinions on Shogun, you can also do that as well.
Indeed.
So I went out to the show. It was in Pasadena. It was at a place called Force of Healing Records. And I never really took Pasadena for a place that has music, as LA is typically known as the spot to hear music locally in Southern California. And I drove out there, not much in terms of scenery. I mean, it was kind of over by Caltech or Pasadena City College, and there's a really awesome comic book store called Comics Factory that's probably like one city block over. And I didn't actually leave early enough in time to go there, but if I had, I'm pretty sure I'd be coming out with a fucking swath of comic books. And I recently cut my comic book addiction, so that shit's gone. I can't be on the hook again.
Yeah. You can't.
I mean, I can read, but I can't touch.
Yeah. You can look, but don't put it in a syringe and inject it into your veins.
Yeah, that's I can only window shop. So I walk into this place, and it looks like your mom and pop's corner shop. It's really interesting because they had this woman sitting outside, and she was wearing this weird retro style, like 70s fuck, man, it looked like golf pants. There was like a plaid pattern on it. It was black and yellow, and the colors were disgusting. It's like the browns, like all the shit that you would imagine.
Brown and like the beige and like a baby shit green mixed in there.
Yeah, baby shit green. And that kind of seemed to be the theme for the night, because as soon as I walk in, there's these giant blue fucking curtains that are blocking the goddamn way. And the place is actually pretty sweet, because there's like a elevated platform where they have the records lined up all against the wall. And then, of course, there's a giant like table, or rather tables, that have racks and racks of records and boxes. And then on the far right end, when you walk in, it's not a phonogram or anything like that, but the speakers have like the thing that kind of looks like it.
Okay.
But it just looked really cool for like anybody that wanted to DJ or show up and play some music for people. It was like a really fucking kind of cool spot. But as people started to file in and shit, man, one thing that was a heavy fashion theme for that fucking night, as I said before, was the 70s and 60s attire. And there was people with fucking denim jeans, denim jackets. I mean, some of these people looked like they were in fucking Thin Lizzy or some of those old school 70s rock. I mean, some of them had the porn stash.
Oh, man.
But yeah, it was a real interesting crowd. I mean, I fucking stood out like a sore thumb because I dressed like a fucking normie with, jeans and a hoodie or whatever. And plus some, I could tell I look threatening to them.
Well, as we've learned from attending events at other places, that's generally how people view you for some reason.
It's good though. It's good though, because, if I'm walking down the street in Pasadena and it's 9-10 p.m. at night, I know I'm not going to get harassed. Like, I just know I'm not going to get harassed. But so I am there for Lady Appletree, and I see her walking about, and she's actually a lot fucking taller than I thought she was. She's very, she has a very slim figure, but she's fucking a little on the statuesque side. And
what did you think, she was like a Smurf or what?
I thought maybe she was at most like 5'5" or 5'6".
All right,
she was as tall as I was.
Oh,
I'm like, fuck, she was all legs. I'm like, but I gotta say, for my first time hearing her, angelic voice, amazing. Could not say better words. I mean, shit, dude. It was. I think one thing that was lacking in my own personal fucking game, as far as surveying music here in Southern California, I haven't been privy to fucking country music or folk music as much, and it's kind of slim pickings to begin with. So there's not a whole lot to see or hear, or maybe I'm being subjective. I mean, it's my own personal experience, but there hasn't been a whole lot of country folk acts that matter to me, and Lady Appletree is the fucking person to I guess be the face of it here in Los Angeles and Southern California. Right. So I think for my first time hearing her, I was completely blown away. And it was a very small set. It was like, 30, 40 minutes. And it was just an acoustic set. And I think that actually played out into her favor, and at least for the audience as well, to have just the vocals and the acoustic guitar. Because that's kind of the driving force to go see her, is to hear her voice, right? And so I recorded the entire set. And man, I'll tell you what, I can't sit down and do crisscross applesauce. Like, I can't. I was getting like winded
from just sitting with your legs crossed.
Yeah, or even sitting on my knees. When you have your knees on the floor and you're kind of just like sitting on top of them.
Okay.
That shit hurts, dude.
So what? Everybody was sitting like that?
No, it was just me, but there was a couch and everybody was all, comfortable in their chairs and shit. But I wanted to get up close where she was at.
Okay,
but I didn't want to obscure anybody's view. So I was on my knees, and I couldn't find a comfortable fucking position just to stand or sit, or even, what is it called? Crouching, like an FPS. I couldn't fucking do it, man. And, but luckily I got her entire set. So I'm going to be posting. Well, actually, I'm not sure, because she has a lot of unreleased music, and I don't want to, be the guy. I don't want to be that guy to find out that some other assholes like copying her music and basically stole it because she hasn't even released it. But
yeah.
So then after the show, I went out to go greet her and just told her like, hey, really big fan of your music. I've been following you since you were formerly, I think, Will and Haley. I think she was a fucking duo before, but now she's she's just exclusively a solo artist. And I got her autograph, and then a little bit in the midst, I met the manager, and he's like, hey, you captured the entire set. I'm like, yes.
And you're like, yeah, what's it to you, buddy?
Yeah, what's it to you? So he's like, hey, do you think I could have that? And I'm like, sure. So
Sure, for a small donation to Game Rage Magazine and the All Gas No Trash podcast.
Yeah.
Or potentially some sort of a plug.
Yeah, so he asked me for if I could give him the video for the set that she performed, and I don't know if I'm actually going to do it. I just said yes because it's easier.
Do you have his contact information?
I do.
I would. Now listen, this is just let's be spitballing here, but I'd be hit him up for an interview.
Yeah,
potentially. Because I'm sure he manages the venue, right? So I'm sure he's got
not the venue itself, but he was the manager of Lady Appletree.
Oh, even better, man! I misunderstood completely. Oh, even better. Shit.
So this guy asked if he could have the video. I said yes, and I wasn't exactly lying because, well, I guess I technically am, but I don't know whether I am or not. I just said it because it's easier to give people the illusion
that you're going to comply.
Yeah.
Because then he might have been like, well, you need to turn that over so we can delete that then, buddy.
Yeah.
Now it's too late.
My ass,
yeah. And now it's too late.
Yeah, you can suck my ass, buddy. And I had a feeling, dude, I don't know if it was just me, but I was scoping that dude out because he just seemed like the manager type. So pretty much throughout the night, pretty much up until when Lady Appletree performed, I was just watching the way the guy moved and operated, and I was under the impression that he was the manager. And then luckily he came to me and confirmed my suspicions. Yeah. So it's been kind of nice to I don't know, man. I'm fucking dialed into music, dude. I'm fucking dialed into people. I can go to shows and spot people and put, oh, this is this person. This is how they're connected. And, as I'm gesturing and pointing out shit, I probably look like a fucking madman. but really enjoyable night as far as music went. And I actually want to go back and see her perform with a full band because I need to hear what she sounds like as far as a full. I feel like I got the sample, but I need everything. I need the whole buffet of her to enjoy her at her most peak experience, I suppose.
Okay.
So that was the more or less the experience that I had over the past weekend. It's like the first show that I've been to in probably 3 months, and it was very, very much well worth it. And if there's anything to say, I do like the fact, and I don't know if this is me jerking myself off or, sucking my own cock or whatever, but I love the fact that I'm going where other people aren't. This happened on the same weekend as Coachella, and there's hundreds of thousands of people that I will go through the course, or rather go to Coachella, go see this festival, pay gobs of money to go see a number of artists. But these are people that are established and all that jazz, right? But I'm going where nobody else is looking. I'm looking at the fucking, I'm trying to keep my ear to the street or the ground and just being perceptive of where nobody else is. And I don't know why I was rationalizing that in my own head when I went to go to this show. I was kind of proud of myself. I'm going where nobody else is going. I know I see potential in people and artists. So I like getting at the ground floor of things. And this is, like I said, this is what the podcast is about, is to get on the ground floor of things, to speak to what's happening in music currently, We're not looking at Coachella because that's more of an end point for music.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have anything else to add, but since we're on the subject of Coachella, that was one of the things I wanted to fucking segue into.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. Did you want to go, or did you want to talk about Coachella? Or
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. I mean, yeah. Let's hit it up.
This might end up taking the bulk of the conversation. So
yeah, I think it will.
This particular topic is rather interesting to me because there was a lot of things that happened. There was the flubbing of Grimes as a DJ and her fucking up her set and basically embarrassing herself.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not okay. So I'm not a DJ, right?
Yes.
Okay, but I did look into it because I was curious to see what could have possibly happened. And so essentially, how it was explained to me from people who are DJs is that she utilized some other service to basically put her set together, to put it all into like the files or whatever.
I think she used.
It's like sound
third party.
Yeah, it's like a third party.
But she had other people do it for her.
Right, that's what I'm like they made her whole set. Like I think she just told them what she wanted, and then they just put it all together in a file, so then she can just plug it into the thing and just let it go, right?
Yeah.
So one of the things that everybody said that would have fixed the problem is because they said that she had the sync turned on, which the sync mixes up both decks and it syncs them to the same speed. So if one song is a faster BPM, it'll match. It'll take the other song and match it. So that's why it was sounding all like it was getting crazy. And everybody that I've talked to literally says all she had to do was just push that button and it would have turned off the sync and there would have been no issue. Allegedly. Now this is, like I said, I can't independently verify this because I don't have the equipment nor am I experienced as a DJ.
Well. Yeah,
but even if that's not the case, even if it wasn't something as simple as that, right? The way that she handled it up there on the stage was just like the complete wrong way to fucking handle it. To just start rambling on and it's like, dude, just shut up. Just be like, hey, we're having an issue. Stand by, everyone. That's all you got to do. Mm-hmm. You don't have to, or, obviously she's not someone who's improvisationally talented to be able to just come up with shit off the top of her head and just entertain the crowd for a minute. Obviously, she, it's like, oh shit. She's the type of performer, obviously, where if something is amiss slightly or it doesn't work right, there's no recovering. It's done. It's dead. Like you have to have everything go according to the plan or else it's going to just be a shit show, which is essentially what it kind of turned into.
Yeah, it turned into. And I think, ironically, this is actually going to work out into her favor.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why do you say that?
Because there's no such thing as bad publicity.
I mean, that's
so
true.
Now she has more eyes on her, and perhaps more people will go to her fucking stage, whatever stage she's actually at, to go see whether she's going to fuck up or not.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I've already seen the memes. The memes have already begun to be created. So,
yeah,
I mean,
I've profited off of it.
Yeah, absolutely. But if there's anything to gain from this, it's that whether you're going viral for a good reason or a bad reason, it really doesn't matter. More people are going to go check your shit out. And realistically, because of all the shit that people have been talking on the internet about her not being a real DJ and this, she's just fake as fuck and your typical, so she had some money or somebody decided to back her and they were like, okay, cool, you're not really talented at doing this, but we're just gonna make your shit for you and you're just gonna go out there and you're an attractive female, so we're just gonna market that and see where it goes, right? So everybody's talking all this shit about how she's not really, a real DJ because she doesn't know how to operate the actual equipment. So it will cause people to at least go on to Apple Music or whatever, SoundCloud, whatever they're listening to, Spotify. And she's going to get a shit ton of traffic and streams now for people just to go check it out to say, okay, well, let me hear this for myself. All these people are talking shit on TikTok and Instagram. Let me just go hear it and see what, I think about this and then form my own conclusions, right? So either way, this, like you said, I do think you're right now as you say that. I do think she will benefit from this.
Yeah, I don't think this is the worst thing that happened to her. If anything, it's elevated who she is as an artist. yes, she's not a DJ, but she is a recording artist. And
Yeah.
Okay, so the fuck what? She had a lapse in performance
Sure.
to DJing. So
Shit
what?
happens. Yeah.
So the fuck what? I'll tell you what. This is not me personally attacking DJs, but let's look at the facts, dude. She's at Coachella. What are all these other people doing?
Right, yeah.
They're fucking commenting
Right.
on her. I'm like, hey, have you DJ'd at Coachella?
Yeah. So
I don't know. Like,
yeah, I mean, this is a true story because how is it? And again, is it people just jumping on the bandwagon of the sour grapes of, oh, they're just jealous because they're not there performing. So, oh, somebody fucked up. So, oh man, we gotta fucking sniper them and beat them to death over this to show how this is all just rigged and it's all bullshit. And this is the reason why I'm not performing at Coachella. You know, I'll tell you right now, if I wanted to take Millennial Frog and go perform at Coachella, I could go perform at Coachella. All right. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I could do it if I wanted to. But the fact that but I don't want to. The fact that these assholes that want to and they don't, well, you're fucking up, all right? Like don't put that on someone else just because they had a mishap or, you know, an error in judgment. Because I mean, obviously, that's another thing people don't want to understand about when you're out there live performing in front of somebody. Fuck, man, you got a crowd of fucking however many 10,000 people. I don't know how many fucking people are at Coachella, but whatever, several thousand. Fuck, even if it's 100 people, man, your adrenaline is just pumping. And I can tell you right now, when your adrenaline's pumping and some shit goes sideways, if you have not prepared yourself for this, you're not going to make good decisions. You're just going to make bad choices. So there is sure the plausibility of, yeah, maybe she just doesn't know how to use the shit. Or it's that she just completely fucking forgot how to do everything because her adrenaline's high. And if you don't essentially train yourself for these situations to happen specifically, then you're not going to succeed when they happen. Because again, you're operating at 11 and you're like, holy shit, your brain is in flight or fight mode, right? That's what it goes to. And sometimes your brain just goes into fucking dipshit mode and it's like it crashes, like the blue screen comes on when some shit like this goes down. And that's kind of what seemingly kind of just happened, is what it looked like. It went into default protective mode because fight or flight kicked in and she's like, oh shit, I just forgot how to use every single piece of equipment that I have. And that does happen to people in other professions. That happens in, you know, many different things that you can point examples to. And it's not to say that they're bad at their job or that they don't know how to do their job. It's just to say, hey, they were put in a high stress situation that they did not train for. And sure, does a DJ really need to train themselves for a high stress situation like this? Probably not. So I would doubt that most DJs who would be in that same position as her, I doubt that they would have done much better.
Yeah, I think, you know, confidence comes with experience.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about being in high stress situations for a DJ, I don't think they planned for that.
Yeah, of course not.
It's the confidence comes in rehearsal.
Right.
Just coming up with an entire set of songs that you curate and you master that. And then once you get out into the field, you know, you're not to say you're lost in your own world, but you've done the work.
Yeah.
So
you're just on autopilot at this point.
Yeah, it's second nature at that point. So I don't think this moment, and I feel like people are getting to that point where they're I think invalidating Grimes as an artist, but it's almost two different things because you're talking about her as a DJ, you're talking about her as an artist,
right?
So this is solely about her being a DJ, which she's evidently not, and that's why she fucked up.
Sure,
but I think another thing in defense of Grimes is that it's like the sports situations. You know, all 30 MLB teams are fucking cheating. And,
yeah, that's true.
And
NFL teams, the NBA, they're all cheating.
Well, I guess I meant specifically for baseball,
right, sure.
where people are stealing signs.
Yeah, okay, that's a good example.
She was the one that got caught.
Yeah, basically.
A lot of DJs just
do what she does.
Yeah, they probably programmed everything. They have everything lined up and they know what to do. And as far as when they hop on stage, everything's
on autopilot.
Yeah, everything's on autopilot. She was the one that got caught.
Yeah, sure.
So,
and shit, it's not that. I don't, like you said, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I mean,
I don't think it's that big of a deal. And yeah, what else do you got to say about this particular topic?
I would just say that there is a lot of negativity out there. Now, listen, I do enjoy me some negativity. Okay, I'd be a hypocrite if I said that, because hate does motivate both of us for the most part.
Yes, it does.
But I do think you have to look at the context of it. And then you do have to realize, yeah, sure, it's okay to hate. It's okay for people. You're going to have haters. It's okay for people to hate. But what are you doing? That's the question. I can hate on other, like when we talk shit about no one specifically, but when we talk shit amongst ourselves about other podcasts that we listen to, right, which we do a lot, okay, I feel that we can say that because guess what? We're out here making podcasts. If you're going to be sitting on there playing armchair fucking general and talk shit about music or DJs, are you a DJ? No. Or are you a DJ? Yes. Okay. Are you out there performing and doing things like her? Probably not. Then shut the fuck up. Quit being a fucking hater and just shut up. You know, unless you're out there doing it, you have no right to talk shit. That's my point, I guess.
Yeah, I just wanted to take the apologist route for Grimes because I thought it'd be funny.
It is funny. It is funny.
It's funny to me because, as you were saying already, it's funny that everybody has an opinion, but yet none of them have performed at Coachella. So shut the fuck up. That's the bottom line. It's the bottom line.
And listen, I don't think it's even being an apologist route because we're not saying, oh, no, Grimes is the best DJ ever. You guys are just fucking, there was just a technical mishap and blah, blah, blah. Like, we're not even doing that. We're just saying, if you haven't done it, then just shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know? Like, quit armchair generaling things. Like,
yeah.
I like that phrase, armchair general. It's a good one.
Armchair quarterback.
Monday morning quarterback.
Yeah, Monday morning quarterback.
Put fucking Monday morning quarterback in it and just shut up.
Yes. So now I guess we could transition over to.
Was there anything else that you felt or you feel is possibly relevant that's happened or happening at Coachella?
Yeah, that's what I was going to get at.
Oh, okay, cool. I thought you were going to transition to something completely different.
No.
Okay, cool. All right.
And I think I know what the capstone's going to be for this specific subject. I know it's been subsequent topics, but when we get to the end, I'll bring it up.
Okay.
So this particular part is going to be dedicated to perhaps the audience or maybe even the bands performing.
Uh-huh.
But it was just the overall interaction between the two. And most notably, we're talking Damon Albarn with the Blur and, of course, Gwen Stefani. Damn, I kind of sound like an asshole, but, you know, it's more. I only pointed out Damon Albarn because that's the name that everybody knows in the band, and Gwen Stefani's. But it's
But let's just be honest though. The lead singer of the band is always the most fucking recognizable, and that's the person that you mainly associate. And it's not to take away from any of the other members' contributions, but they're the one that's out there singing, and they're in front of they're at the fucking focal point because they're the ones singing. And I don't think that's wrong of people to have an assumption of when they think of a band, they just think of the main, you know, lead singer. Or there's bands that I follow that I don't fucking know any of the other idiots' names in the band. Like, it's not to say I don't like the band. It's just this person's always at the forefront. They're usually the one being interviewed. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think it's wrong to, you know, just point those names out because those are the ones people associate the bands with. So anyways, go ahead.
To follow up, Damon Albarn, The Blur, Gwen Stefani, no doubt. Both of them performed on the main stage for Coachella to not much fanfare. And to me, that came as a bit of a surprise because I'm under the impression that people know who Damon Albarn is because Gorillaz is the band he's probably known for.
Right.
So I thought maybe that'd feed back into the Blur because everybody knows song 2. Woo,
yeah.
You know, that song. And then no doubt, you know, they're kind of pivotal to Southern California music and the history of ska itself. They're a third wave band. They paid their dues. They did everything in music, and it seems as though it was lost on the fucking crowd.
Yeah.
And I was just kind of flabbergasted that nobody really cared. And, you know, Gwen Stefani, I don't know I tried to find the entire set online. I wasn't able to watch the whole thing, but from what I can find, man, she was reaching to the audience, not physically, but saying, "Hey, come on, guys! Like, we're trying to get a show going, and we need you, the participants, to interact with us." She just wasn't fucking getting it, and it was a little bit depressing because it's 30 years removed from No Doubt's best days, and maybe it's even less than that their music has been affected, or the band has been affected, because their last performance was 9 years ago.
Yeah.
So maybe it only took 9 years for people to forget, because we're talking Generation Z probably being the most prominent, maybe the most prominent demographic at fucking Coachella at this point.
Yeah.
So I think maybe that is potentially the reason why they didn't get the reception that you would imagine No Doubt would get.
Yeah.
But I also think that it's possible that the warning signs were when the tickets were being sold as well.
Yeah.
Mainly due to the fact that when No Doubt was announced, they still hadn't sold the Coachella Festival event out up until that point. And it took, I think, like 2 or 3, I want to say it was an additional week. Let's say like 3 weeks tops that it took for the event to sell out. And usually the event sells out immediately. There's people queued up that you're waiting to get waitlisted or to get on the fucking thing.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like that potentially was a warning sign to No Doubt losing cachet, or whatever you want to call it, losing the flair, or any, like, the legacy, the allure of the band is not, it's not fucking there anymore. And I thought they actually did a pretty decent job as far as the performance went, but I think ska music and even No Doubt themselves was just, it did not play well to the audience.
I would say too, with like specifically to Blur, they were generally more popular here than they were in England or Europe, right? When they were in their heyday, according to, sales and, all that kind of stuff. But they still were not as popular as the Gorillaz, right? That's like their biggest fucking project.
For Damon Albarn, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, they started this comeback tour in like 2023, and they did a lot of touring around Europe and Asia, but it just, I feel like this was the test bed to see if a US tour would be warranted. That's kind of what I feel like maybe Golden Voice was doing, right? And what's interesting to note is that they did a warm-up show at the Pomona Fox Theater, on April 10th.
Yes, and Rachel Bowl was seen with, or at least from what I saw, she had a photograph of her selfie with Damon Albarn, which is funny that you mentioned that. So
yeah, that's why
if you want to
hear Rachel Bowl,
you want to hear about the person that is the showrunner at the fucking Fox Theater Pomona, the warm up to fucking Coachella, you can hear it on the Without Censor podcast.
That's right, the most recent episode.
So go ahead and do yourselves a favor and check it out once you're done fucking listening to this episode.
Yeah, of course. So, but I will say too that in addition to the Blur thing, I just kind of think that, because this happens in performance art, right? When you do live performances, sometimes the audience is just shitty. And I do think, because you brought this up about how Coachella is almost more of a status event, right, for people than it is for actual legit music fans. I mean, the cost of entry is so expensive now that you basically have to be a rich guy to fucking get in. And if you're a rich guy that goes for the status to bring your arm candy to show off, you may not know who any of these fucking, you're going to know maybe fucking Taylor Swift and like the main big ones, right? But most of these assholes probably don't even know who Blur is. They're probably just like, the fuck is this? So a lot of them probably don't even know who No Doubt is. And they're just like, I don't know what this shit is. And that type of music, especially No Doubt, that 90s ska music, it's like if you weren't around during that time, I don't see people nowadays liking that type of music. I see if that's a pure nostalgia move. And obviously I have nostalgia for No Doubt. I listened to No Doubt. It was great. And those people that didn't, they're not going to have those same feelings. So they're just going to be flat. And again, it could have just been a shitty crowd too. I mean, that happens like we talked, on with wrestling. That is a true thing. Certain cities just have flat ass fucking shitty crowds that aren't into it. And then you go to some cities and they are just popping. It doesn't matter what you put out. Philly, New York, fucking, maybe Chicago. If you put anything on, they're going to be into it. And even if they're not into it, they're going to let you know. So they're going to be a raucous crowd either way. Whereas sometimes when you come out here to some of these West Coast spots, everybody's a little too chill. Everybody's a little too chill, laid back, and just, they're enjoying the show and having a good time, but they're not as vocal, I guess, about it. So, and they're also not into the participatory audience part, which I think that's kind of like mandatory. When you go to a fucking show, there is going to be some audience participation here, right? With you cheering or singing along or doing whatever. So if you're not doing that, yeah, it may take away from the aspect of the aesthetic of the show. It may make it seem like it was worse than it actually was, because if the audience isn't into it, and like I said, I hate to go back to wrestling again, but you could see some great wrestling, but if the audience isn't into it, it knocks that shit down a little bit. And that does kind of suck. But I do think with No Doubt, I think that this also was another test bed to see, okay, maybe the nostalgia acts, as we've talked in the past on this show, that's becoming a thing now. You've got us dipshit millennials who never had the money to go and see these bands. Well, here 20 years later, we have money, even though now it's worth less than it's ever fucking been. But, we still have money now. So, yeah, to go relive my fantasy, we're all fucking going through our midlife crises right now. So, to relive out our teenage years or our youth and get to go see this band that we never got to see. Yeah, I won't eat for a week to go fucking pay for this $800 to go see this band. Yeah, of course. So I think that this was the test bed though, because they're going to be like, okay, if this shit doesn't pop off here, you ain't doing a tour. And sure, maybe they'll try to do an international tour. Maybe they'll do something else with No Doubt, but I think this was the tipping point for them to be yes or no on getting a U.S. tour. And I think it was the same application for Blur was, okay, you guys have been moderately successful on your international tour, your second reunion tour or whatever. Hey, let's see how this would do maybe here in the U.S. Let's use Coachella as a, test bed. And obviously their announcements didn't sell out the fucking event, obviously. So,
well, I mean, it is sold out eventually.
Yeah, eventually, but those weren't the tipping points to get people to say, "Oh yeah, let's fucking all go and buy tickets to go see this shit." Yeah, Coachella's going to sell out anyways, no matter what. I think it doesn't matter who plays there; it's always going to sell out. Because again, now I think it's become more of a status symbol to take your little selfies on Instagram and be, "Oh, look at me, I'm at Coachella. Hey, everybody, I'm an influencer." So. That's what I think the purpose of it was. And obviously now it's probably not going to they're probably not going to have an American tour because of this. So, we'll see though, I guess.
So for me, that you touched on the subject, but more or less the end of where I wanted to go with this is that I think there's something wrong with the audience. I firmly believe there is some blame for the audience itself, because I've been checking in with different sets that have been posted, and there are a few people, and not to say that this is the whole consensus at large, but there are people that feel that this was probably the most boring, possibly the most boring lineup, but also the audience isn't there, dude. I don't know what the fuck what it is, if people are just programmed different, if technology has made us worse. But yeah, this whole fucking audience thing has just got me perplexed, man. I don't know what it is, and I think possibly Coachella's being cannibalized by their own fucking audience. I think it's somewhat that people are now so dialed into like technology, and maybe we have short attention spans, and if we don't like something, then we turn away, or we don't fucking care, or whatever it might be. And I think the music lover audience is potentially fucking gone, dude. Maybe it's because the people that go to this event are now thinking of, how does this benefit me? How does this benefit me as an influencer? How does this benefit me as a journalist? How does this benefit me in whatever manner it benefits you personally? The love for the music might not be there anymore.
Yeah, and let me posit you a theory. All right. You hit on it with the technology, and I think with this new Generation Z and Generation Alpha people with their short attention spans of 30 seconds or less, right? I would imagine that people that do know about some of these bands, they're maybe, okay, you got a couple bands, maybe there's a couple songs people know, right? Okay, people will stay and watch a couple of those songs normally, generally, yes. But let's just say, like, now with this new generation, if their attention span's 30 seconds, they may not even stay for the whole one singular song. They may stay for the 30 seconds they hear over and over and over again on TikTok that's in fucking Reels or whatever. And they stay there, they film it, and then they walk off. Thus, the point of the show is basically lost on them, because they came there to get their 30 seconds to hear the shit live that they always hear, and then that's it. They move on. Because I don't think people are consuming music like they used to. I don't think people are sitting down and listening to, like, yes, we are.
Yes, thank God we are, dude. Like,
because sorry.
Yeah, no. I was just gonna say real quickly that thank God. Well, maybe I should replace that with thank the powers that be that we are we're unprogramming ourselves to listen to an entire fucking album. Because that I think that's part of the fucking problem, is that people are listening to singles, or they only want to hear the songs they want to hear. And for me personally, when I go to shows, I actually come out liking more of the deep cuts. I don't know how it just works out that way. It just works out that way, where the deep cuts, I appreciate them. And I don't know if it's just the programming now that singles are the thing, or the short attention spans, but it feels like it's some kind of amalgamation of everything, that Coachella is being betrayed by their own fucking audience. So
yeah,
to add on, go ahead and
and I think that when you have this short attention span combined with the social media perpetuating that stereotype, I guess, for lack of a better term, I do think that it makes for these type of shows, especially Coachella, that's an open air, you can go see whoever you want. So yeah, the audiences may seem flat because the audience could be changing out every other song, or every 2 minutes, the audience could just be changing in people, because, oh shit, I came because I wanted to see this 1 30 seconds I hear. Oh shit, now I'm here to see this other 30 seconds on this. I'm gonna go over to this place and see this other 30 seconds. So as the audiences are becoming more and more transient at this actual event, and I think that's something where this is like, Coachella is let's just be real, it's a relic of the old music industry. It's not a new modern invention, right? Coachella. And I think that this is going to be the beginning of the change in them figuring out how to embrace this new generation with this new short attention span, this new way that everything's done. I think that that's the next precipice. That's the next bubble.
Oh, God. I just thought of how that's going to work, but continue.
And so I think with entertainment in general, again, the movie and TV industry haven't quite figured it out yet. And I think that you're starting to get a very, very small amount of people online that are kind of getting hip to it. And I think, like, this is something that where I want to start doing shit where we do, instead of making like these long fucking form narrative things, because nobody fucking watches that shit anymore, right? There's people like us that still will watch that shit, that we can make that stuff for, because that's stuff that, like, I want to make. But to capture these short attention span people, you got to tell a fucking compelling story in 30 seconds or less, right?
It's an elevator pitch,
right? But you have to do the whole thing's got to be out, because even if you suck them in with that, I still don't think that Generation Alpha or Generation Z is going to then watch a 20-minute episode. Like if you push them, if you push out, let's say, let's just talk, because we're talking on the music one. Let's just talk about music. If you put a 15-second clip on there and that goes viral of your song, I don't think they're going to download the entire fucking album at all. I think they might go listen to that one song. And for that, I don't even think they're going to listen to it all the way through. And so now I think this is the beginning of the shift of success within the music industry is going to start to no longer be measured by album sales or whatever. It's going to just be on straight streams, right? And it's going to solely convert to that. It's going to solely convert to social media views and shit like that. That's where it's going to shift to. And it's not going to be Billboard Top 100 is going to change to where it's going to be who is the most streamed on Spotify. It's or whatever, whatever it's going to be, right? It's going to be something to that effect of reflecting the short attention span. And once whoever the first people are that figure out how to capitalize on this for real, those are going to be the ones that are going to be your CEOs of whatever Facebook, or they're going to be your Zuckerbergs, they're going to be your Elon Musk, they're going to be that type of people of the new music industry. And personally, I don't think that anyone that's currently a CEO or a top level individual in the current music industry is going to be the one to do that. It's not going to be someone who's already there. It's going to take someone from the outside who has no preconceived notions of how the music industry works, and they can see what the current trend is, and then they can apply it to the music industry. And once that happens, all those companies are going to be forced to either adapt or die. That's going to be it. And I think this is a this Coachella flat audience stuff. And yes, sure, an argument can be made. Maybe the lineups weren't that great, blah, blah, blah. But I still think that this is the beginning of we're on that precipice of this new shift into, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it's going to be called, but I can see it. I'm too dumb to figure it out, right? But I'm smart enough to see, I can see it. I don't know exactly what it's going to be or how it's going to portray itself. And it could be something that we've never even thought that would happen yet. Maybe bands are going to start doing 30-second songs and that's it. It's just this 15 seconds and that's the song. And then you release an album of 20, 15-second, things, and those things go through the roof because that's what this new generation may want. Hell, maybe I should do a Millennial Frog fucking album where every song is 15 seconds and that's it. And then just fucking go from there. Just create the hook, that 15-second, just that suck them in, because they probably won't go and listen to the rest of the song. But hell, if that's all you are offering and that's all you're going to give them, hell, they might download that. I don't know. That'd be interesting to see. But yeah, I do think that we're coming up upon some change in eras here. And it's just going to be interesting to see what the fuck happens. And I'm just glad we're here. At least, this is the way, right? We're maintaining the ways of old. We're maintaining the old guard of, hey, we want to listen. We do want to. There is an aspect of the market that wants to hear this long form, listen to full albums. And obviously it's indicative by the fact of that we're still getting new people to come listen every fucking week to us, especially the album review that we did is the highest. The Young Gatita Shoelace in a Knot is the most downloaded podcast episode for All Gas No Trash. It is by far. It's like not even fucking close. And that tells me that, yeah, there's still some people out there that do want to hear full albums. They still want to hear this shit. And we're at least in a cool position to be able to incorporate and maintain the ways of old, but also adapt and embrace the change and the new shit that's coming and also do stuff like that. And like I said, I don't know what it is in terms for podcasts. I don't know what it means for podcasts in general, but I do think that it means things are going to change. So anyway, sorry, go ahead. That is all. All
right. I think there's probably 3 or 4 things to tackle.
Yeah.
I think I could see how things will change for the future, potentially for artists, depending on the severity of the audience itself. And I'm talking broadly.
Yeah, right.
But let's say that this is a problem, that people have short attention spans and they can only sit around or stay still for who the fuck knows how long at a concert. I heard the song I want to hear. I don't need a fucking...
I'm done.
Maybe the solution, and this is not something new, but I think it'll be potentially a way to mitigate short attention spans, is to do medleys.
Oh, okay.
So instead of doing a full song, if say you have a 15 or if you have a 30-minute set, you're probably getting 5 or 6 songs off, right?
Okay.
So you find out how to mix one song to the next. You start off with one song and then you somehow interlude the next fucking song into the first song, and then so on and so on. And that would be the way for the audience to not fucking to lose interest. Yeah. I think medleys may be a thing of the future to keep people listening and to keep people watching the band. And fuck, I hope that doesn't actually happen, because that would actually make me cry if I can't hear a full fucking song at a performance.
Yeah.
But as far as talking about truncating songs to a minute or under, maybe that's a fucking thing. Maybe that ends up becoming a thing, because think about it this way. The objective of Spotify, the streaming platform, is to get as many streams as possible to create the revenue to pay to the songwriters and then all the fucking record labels and shit, and they get their cut, and everybody else is afterwards and all that shit.
Yeah.
Or whoever the stakeholders are of the music itself, right? So what is the best way to fucking get more streams? Well, if you cut the song to a minute, imagine how many more times you could string. Say the original idea for the song was 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you decide to make, let's say you make a 1-minute version of that fucking song. You can listen to that song 4 times.
Yeah. And thus with the same audience you would have drew off of your 1 4-minute song, you have now quadrupled the number of streams, therefore potentially quadrupling the amount of money for literally 25% of the work. 25% of the work that you had to have done. And that's another thing that I think people are discounting is, as we see the Gen Z and the Gen Alphas become in like the general workplace, they want to do less work. They don't want to do they want to do work. We are in that weird gap of where we didn't want to do the work like the boomers, right? But because of the way we were fucking raised, we did it and we just didn't want to do it. Now we're seeing these kids just go, oh yeah, we don't want to do it like you, but yeah, we're just not going to do it. And so then they don't. So then that's probably where the future is going to be, where, yeah, they could do a 4X profitability and a 4X number of downloads as our streams, as opposed to for 25% of the work. Oh, yeah, count them in. I'm sure that's probably exactly where it's going to go. And I'm telling you right now, the next Millennial Frog album that's coming out this month is going to be 1-minute songs. That's it. It's going to be 1 minute. I'm going to do it in 7 days. I might even do it in 4 days, because only songs only got to be a minute long. And fucking, I'm going to see if I can get more downloads off of that. I'm going to see if I can get more streams.
Yeah.
See if that works. Let's apply it. See if we can see. We have a real case study that we can do to see if this is potentially viable for the future.
Yeah. And I think I don't remember exactly what are the markers for where Spotify indicates that this counts as a stream. Like if you have to listen to 2/3 of a song.
Well, I don't know, because for podcasts, it's like 60 seconds, I think, is what you have to listen to in order for it to count as a stream for podcasts. I don't know for music what they count as a stream. I think that in terms of music, if you just push the play button, I think that's what counts. Like it just counts it. Whether you listen to it or not, it's like if you just hit play, then that counted. You got 1 stream.
All right, but let's say that in the case that you had to hit a certain time mark, first 15 seconds, first 30 seconds.
Yeah, sure.
Well, if you make a song that's a minute, you get to the point quicker. And, and you can meet that marker.
I'm just going to Google it just to see how long to listen to a song on Spotify. Oh, you go ahead if you had stuff.
Oh, no, that was more or less it, is that
stream.
Whatever counts as a stream, it's going to be easier to hit that because the song is shorter. So people are like, oh, I only need it's only 60 seconds. I might as well listen to the whole fucking thing. And then you get to the marker and boom,
Okay,
you got
so
yourself
it's
a stream.
So it's 30 seconds.
It's 30 seconds,
for
right?
music, yeah. So if you listen to 30 seconds of a song, so if you make the song 32 seconds, everyone's likely going to listen till the end.
Yeah.
Because they want to hear the completion of the song, and with the short attention span, and you'll get them to actually count it as a. So every song's got to be 30. Let's just say 35 seconds, just to make sure that we cross that border.
And it's not even much of a stretch to add on 25 additional seconds to get
Make it a minute.
Because then you're like, oh, I might as well fucking listen to it. I got to the halfway point. I might as well listen to the whole thing.
Yeah, it's only 30. It's only 25 more seconds.
And that's how you dupe people into fucking listening to a whole song. So I think here's another thing that I'm going to throw out.
Yeah.
So I think people maybe have to consider, and this is probably something that already exists in social media, is that you have samples or you're giving out candy or drugs.
Yeah.
I don't know why I said drugs.
Well, it's a good analogy because you're trying to hook people.
You're trying to hook people up, right?
Just like with drugs.
Big Papa Pump has got your hookup. Holler if you hear me. I think that's how you have to play these people, is that you give them a sample of the song. They like it enough. All right, here's another 30 seconds, or here's the full minute song. If we're abiding by their rules, is that if you're going to give them a full album, you have to tease them every fucking time you post. Yeah. Here's a new song, little 15-second clip. Here's the full minute version or whatever. But you do that enough times, and maybe you can get them to listen to the whole fucking album.
Yeah.
Is that you do it that way. You give them the samples. Like, you keep giving them the samples. Oh, this is kind of good. All right, cool. Let me fucking listen. Let me check it out.
Which means, in theory, you only have to make about 10 to 15 seconds of that song an absolute banger to put on social media. And then they'll go listen to the whole thing because it's only fucking a minute long. So we already heard 20 seconds of it that we knew was fire. Hell, you could just loop the 20 seconds of fire loop it 3 times. Fuck, there you go. You know? Problem solved.
Yeah.
So,
just interesting things that have resulted out of this topic, this conundrum that is arisen out of Coachella itself, man. I really don't know what this means for the future. I mean, I guess we kind of talked about it already, but it still feels kind of nebulous about.
Right. Yeah.
It still feels cloudy about what even this means for the future of the festival itself. Because if people, I don't know how this plays for Golden Voice. Do they give a fuck whether people are reacting to the music or not because they're still getting their fucking payday from the ticket sales? Or potentially the harm that could be done is that if people aren't having fun on social media, if they're posting about it and they're not really, if it seems like people are not having fun on social media or having a good time or they're bored, does that play into potentially people moving away from the festival? Because it's like, yeah.
Okay, I'll just say this. You know how like Gen Z and Gen Alpha, they all have anxiety and they all have, some sort of neurodivergent disorder, allegedly. Well, what if that's what exactly they want to see? What if they're not being vocal or looking like they're super into it because that like flares up their anxiety? But if they're all standing there quietly filming the fucking thing, but they're really having, and then they look at that and say, "Oh man, it looks like such a good time. Look at that. No one's interacting with." I mean, they're not thinking that outright, but they're in the back of their brain. They're like, "Oh man, nobody's touching anybody. Everybody's. Oh, it's really quiet. I don't have to worry about fucking getting crazy or my anxiety flaring up. That could be a legitimate thing." So,
all right,
I don't know.
This is kind of funny because I guess I got to throw out The Simpsons, but there's a Simpsons episode where Homer takes Bart and Lisa to a festival called Hullabalooza, I think. Okay. And it's supposed to be a parody of Lollapalooza. And the fucking crowd is just fucking dead. Like, they're swaying and like, doing a little jig, but as far as like their face goes, stoic, stalwart, or just stone-faced. And I'm like, you know what? That is kind of funny because that was fucking 30 years ago.
Simpsons predicted it, right?
Simpsons predicted it, that
this is how it would be.
Yeah, that the crowds would be just flat, and I don't know, just makes me.
I think we should see if there needs to be an exit poll when people leave, right? And if the majority of people say they had a great time, then we know that it's confirmed that is just how shit is now at this type of event at a large music festival. And what's the other one? Stagecoach. That's like the country. Is that like
that's
the country
the
one?
country? Yeah.
I don't know how those crowds act. I don't know if they're going to be the same. It'd be interesting to see. Not that I like country music and I necessarily want to but it'd be interesting to just see if the crowd reactions are similar.
But to me, Coachella is the hallmark fucking festival. It's the
WrestleMania.
It's the WrestleMania of fucking music, right?
Yeah.
So whatever's happening there, I don't think it's fair to pigeonhole other festivals, but at least here in the U.S.,
yeah,
it could be symptoms or show signs of what could play into other festivals across the United States. I can't speak for Europe because maybe Europeans are still fucking down with like listening to whole albums or just appreciating music, and because they don't have the luxury of fucking having music like we do. Or at least I don't think so, but I could be wrong about that. I'm going to probably retract that statement, but nonetheless, what happens at Coachella, I think, might be what is indicative of maybe the industry at large, potentially. So what we see here could play across all the United States.
And what's cool is we will have, this is a verifiable, this is a scientific methodology of confirming this, because we're saying it now, and then in the coming months, in coming years, we will be able to measure, oh shit, was Coachella 2024 the real turning point of when this new generation or this new change in music happened? And I think that we are, man, again, I hate to suck our own balls off, but we are at the fucking cutting edge, man. Because I don't know anybody. I listen, because now I'll get all this music shit on TikTok and Instagram, because obviously we do all this stuff, so the algorithm thinks that I want to see it, I guess, because we post it all the time. And I don't hear anybody talking about shit like this. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just could be ignorant to it. Maybe there are, but it doesn't seem like that. It seems like we're on the cutting edge of this fucking topic. And I'm very excited to see where it goes.
And I also want to throw in, this is just kind of a quick tidbit, is that I think concert sales are even down in fucking Australia, because there was a number of festivals that were planned out for the last couple months, and a lot of them ended up being canceled for one reason or another. I'm like, fuck, why is that happening? Why does it feel like things are unfolding, dude?
Well, and maybe that's why now, since COVID, we've seen them. They were, during COVID, they were experimenting with the virtual space events. Maybe that's what is going to be the future. Maybe that's Coachella is going to be an online event. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not there. Eventually they will no longer be in person. It'll just be an online event, because people, their anxiety's too high and they don't want to go.
Maybe, I don't know, man. I mean, shit. In a theoretical sense, it actually makes sense to do a virtual concert if you can make it an experience that feels as close to the real thing as possible. And yes, the technology for VR is getting better, but it's still limited in capacity. But the potential for sales is unlimited, as opposed to Coachella being confined to one space.
Right.
Let's say there's 100,000 tickets that are sold every day, or the max capacity for attendance is 100,000 people every day. So 300,000 people times 2 for both weekends, 600,000 people. Whereas if you had a virtual festival, it's unlimited, unless the bandwidth is a problem.
Sure, maybe, but I feel like
I
feel like we're getting to the point with technology that bandwidth is no longer going to be an issue.
Yeah.
But I mean, shit. I saw this thing with the Apple, that VR. Now, granted, it's $3,000, but so it's not now. But in the coming 5 to 10 years, when that technology becomes affordable, I think you really are going to see a shift to this virtual concerts and virtual events, because that Apple fucking Vision, dude, you could literally be sitting. There's this program it has where you're just like, if you're sitting taking a shit, right, and it literally has you in like Yellowstone.
Oh,
and
what?
The whole room, it looks like you are taking a shit in the woods. I am not fucking with you. It is the coolest shit I have ever seen. And yes, you can obviously tell like you're in a fucking thing, but it looks pretty fucking real. And I imagine over time it's just going to get better. But the fact that that exists now leads me to believe that in the future, you may be able to be in a concert like we see in science fiction where they have the things, and it's in anime too, where they have the thing, you put it on and you feel things. It's like you're there. It taps into your nervous system. Elon's doing the brain chip. All right.
The Neuralink.
Yeah. I'm sure there's going to be some shit where you could click the button and you open your eyes and you literally feel as though you are there with no distinguishing factor that you're actually in a digital space. I'm sure that will happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
And then that's going to be that'll be it. It's over. No more in-person shit. It's all over. Everybody's going to be like in that one movie where they live through like a doppelganger, but it's like a robot. And they're just all old and decrepit, but the robots are all young and shit. It's like Bruce Willis. I forget what the movie's called, but yeah, it'll be a piece of shit like that in a digital format. So yeah, man. You heard it here first on All Gas, No Trash.
Yeah. The rabbit holes that apparently we go down. So I think this is a pretty good job of the episode. I think we're probably reaching the end. And to restate what you may have already heard, you can listen to the numerous podcasts that we have available. CUP, Central Unintelligence Podcast, the Current Events and Opinions Podcast, Game Rage, TV and movies for all things related to television, media, and all that stuff. And of course, we have the Anime Syndicate for all your anime needs. What else?
We have the Buttfuck Nowhere Show, or BFN Show, which is basically just there is no topic. It's just general buffoonery and buttfuckery. And then we also have, like I said, we have Pro Wrestling, Game Rage Wrestling Podcast. We have a Star Wars one that we've neglected a little, but we're gonna Game Rage Star Wars. We're gonna start that up again. Panel to Panel, comic books, Team Killing Glitchtards, video games, Without Censor, the exclusive interview podcast,
which had Rachel Bull of the Fox Theater Pomona, who is had Damon Albarn, the Blur, at the venue as a warm-up to Coachella. So if you want to know what her life is like as far as being a production manager and talent buyer and all that stuff for the Fox Theater Pomona, it would be fucking dial into Without Censor.
Absolutely. So anyways, and if you wanted to follow us on social media, you can follow Adam specifically for the hot memes at All Gas No Trash Official, and you can follow us at Game Rage Magazine on Instagram and TikTok, and we're at Game Rage Mag on Twitter/X if you like to use that one. And we post all kinds of stuff. There's memes, there's previews for each episode that we do, a little 30-second to whatever long little preview clip. So, tune it out there. You can check and see which episodes you want to listen to, and just do us a favor and listen to them all, So anyways, and also another thing I want to start doing, go on to your local fucking I don't know, whatever you listen to this on, if it's an app like Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, go on and give us a 5-star review, and also leave a comment, like leave an actual review and say how great we are. That would be awesome. That really would help us out and get it so that it just puts us higher up in the algorithm so more people can listen. And the larger of a fan base that we build, the more interaction we can have with people and the more, shit we can do. Giveaways, all kinds of shit like that. So there's your incentive. Anyways, all right. Well, thanks for listening. And, I guess we'll catch you on the next one.
That was the Game Rage Music Show. Thanks for listening.